Hello, I'm Beth Elliott, and in this Tech Bite, I'll be showing you what's new in the Staff Portal version 4.3. And the first thing we can see right away is that there is a welcome screen as you come in. There are other areas that have changed as well. Under Students, there is a new student profile area. And what that is when you go in, it's going to bring up information about your students, which is really nice to have. And it'll give you the ability to see not only the biographic, but some other areas as well. The first thing we have is sort of a brief information about the student, so you get to know how old they are, whether they're male or female, whether they're the primary sibling or not. Some other information, you get their primary contact or their first contact, and you can also see notes. As we go, we can navigate around with our buttons here. There's a drop-down list of the student names based on the filter that you are in. You can also just click the next, previous, first, or last buttons to also go there. There is an advanced search button, which gives you the ability to search on any area. So if I quickly wanted to get down into the Z's, I could just click in there and type the Z's and it would bring me there. Those are the students I want, or I can check the student that I want. I can go ahead and click OK. I'm going to stay on Christopher, so I'm going to cancel out. To the right of this area, right at the top, you have the various notes. If you hover over the heading, you can see the heading of those notes, the labels that are set up in your database configuration. There are also 3 additional areas here. One is whether or not there is a special ed alert for the student, whether there is a health alert, and or if there is an attendance alert. And if I click on that, it's actually going to let me see what that alert is. If I click on the other notes, it'll show me whether there is a note or not, or if there is any description that's here. Below that, it gives me the ability to see the overall profile of the student. And as I scroll down, I'm going to be able to see a contacts detail area, so I can see the various contacts of the student. And if there are more than the 5 I'm seeing here at your school, there's a scroll box on the right that allows me to go down through more of. Below that is additional information that is not biographic. It's overall for the student. So it's going to give my attendance history, my totals of what's going on with the student, both for absences and tardies. And that's going to include possible days attended, and what that percentage is. To the right of that, it's going to give me the detail of the attendance for the student, for the daily attendance. Below that, it gives me a little information on the student, which can include their phone number or email address, what family they are associated with, if any, ethnicity, the home language, birth date and birthplace, so it just gives some base information. On the right of that is your class information for the student, of where they are in what period, who the teacher is. It would show today's attendance and the grades that are there. Under that is any discipline that the student has had so far this year. So Chris has been a really good kid. He hasn't had any so far. Under that are my school details, sort of the overall. Who is their homeroom teacher, what homeroom they're in, their year of grad, locker, and so on, if team has been applied, any advisor, previous school information. Under that is transportation details of basically how is the student going to and from school and whether they have driving privileges or not. The auxiliary details is in MMS Generations. These would be your user-defined tabs. And you can click on each of the tabs and see the information that is there. To the right, you have an area where you can see the student's name. And if you hover there, it's going to bring up a little bit of information. So if I'm pretty far down on this screen, I don't necessarily remember which student I'm on, and this gives me some information. Your double arrow keys, there's one here to the left, which lets me go to a prior student. So I'm now on as Amy. If I scroll right a little bit more, I'd have an arrow to the right, and that allows me to go to the next student. So just even though I'm down the screen, it lets me go back and forth within that. I do have the ability to print the information for this student, and it lets me come up with the student record listing. So you can set up what you have, decide how much of this information you want to see, and go ahead and print. So as we scroll down, we can set up our different informations. You can go to your settings. The settings, instead of having a save settings and a recall settings, are just having one settings button. So it's all in the same place. If you have not saved any settings yet, it's going to let you know that. You can go ahead and click the Add Setting button, and that allows you to set up the information, change the description. lock it as you normally would, and go ahead and close. You have your buttons here on the left for if you want to save the settings as you've set it up so far, or recall what's there. I'm going to go ahead and close, and it lets me see the information. So I'm showing the core biographical information. You have the option to include your inactives, to start a new page, all the things that you could do in your student record listing before. And if I needed to, I could go ahead and print that. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. If I go back up to the top, what's nice here is I can also expand or collapse all of these different areas. If I go ahead and hit the little arrow here and collapse, it'll close all of them up, and I can then show just the one I want. If I need to, say I only need my transportation details, I can just bring that one up, and that's all the information I see. You can, if you go to the edit area here, you will be able to edit this particular user, this particular student, and when you come in here, when you do hit edit, it automatically expands all of the areas. A couple of new things that have been added under the student details. There is now a phone type and a student phone number, so you can have the student's number, say their cell phone, independent of the contacts. If I go down into my contacts area, my school details and transportation are the same as I've had in MMS Generations. When I come down into the contacts, I see the tabs for all my different contacts that I have available. I can copy the contacts from one student to another. I can clear a specific contact, whichever one I'm on. And what's nice is besides the information we've had in the past, they have added the SMS phone and carrier so that you can send text messages to the parents. You can, if you're in here, go to the Add button, and that gives you the ability to add a new student. When you do add, the items that are in asterisk, the student's name, gender, birth date, and ID are all required. So it gives you your base information on the student right up front. It still allows you to generate a ID number if you need to, and you can go from there. You can also delete a student from here, and it will delete it in all of the tables. And it will still do, as it does in Generations, give you that additional item that says, I need to verify and double verify that that's the student I want to delete. Also under Students, you have your messaging, and it now specifies that it's for one call now. It's the same messaging you had out here before, it just labels it a little differently. So that's all we're doing here. The same is under your attendance. They have labeled the messaging for one call now. In scheduling, there are additional reports that you can work from. You have your class lists. This is the same type of setup you have in MMS Generations. Lets you set up a student range, whether you want to include your withdrawn students. Automatically skips classes with 0 students. Who do you want to see? What classes? The default is all classes, regular, and the default is the course section. And you would just build your list. Say how much information, 1 or 2 lines per student, portrait or landscape, depending on how much information you're bringing in. Do your report title. You can put an additional text, whether it's line 1 or line 2, depending on what you've specified up here. And it lets you know how many characters have been used, and then what additional information you would like to see. Again, you have the settings area where you can save those settings so that you can bring them in again, and you can print. If I go back under scheduling, I can go to my course request tally. What's nice here is, in addition to what I have in Generations, you can bring one additional field to do a tally on. So if I had a special ed field that I'd like to check on, I could come in here, select the field, whatever values I'm working on here, move it over. And whether I move one field or multiple fields, it gives me that capability to do an overall tally of those students who have those 1 or more values. And then you can also label your column. So besides getting your year of grad with gender counts, this gives you the ability to get a sub count. When you go into your cross-reference report, this is the same as you have in MMS Generations. You pick what courses you'd like to see, do the student range, and it's going to give you that difference of what's going on. So if I want to scroll down and select a couple of honors courses or AP courses. I can come in and select those just by holding my control key down, like you do now, and then go ahead and print. It's going to go through the various areas and tell me how many students asked for the original course, and of the other courses I highlighted, how many others have asked for it. So it's a nice quick way to see who I need to avoid having certain classes going against each other. The course request lists are coming from the course, not the student. So it lets you see what's going on. And what's really handy is you can see the students who selected the course as an alternate. So if I go down to course 55, Intro to Philosophy, I can go ahead and do a 1 line per student. Again, you can put text to appear to the right of the course with the student name, though you might want to do some whether or not the student is approved for the course or if they have satisfied the prereq. You can also specify what other additional information. If I go ahead and print this, because I'm including the alternates, it's going to give me not only the counts of the students that asked for the course, but it would also have given me information on who asked for it as an alternate. So if I change from 1415 to 1516, run the same request for the same course, just go ahead and print. It's going to let me see who's asked for this course. I can go to the next page. Gives me my totals, and after the students that asked for it as the primary, the ones with the angle brackets here are showing me who asked for it as an alternate and which alternate it was. So this was their first alternate. The totals it's going to give me is how many asked for it originally and how many have asked for it as an alternate, which can be really handy depending on what I'm trying to figure out. You can, of course, with any of these reports, output them to a PDF, a CSV, or an Excel sheet, in which case you can also go straight to the printer. So it gives you that capability to work from. When you go into the free time tally, what we've done is we've combined the free time tally and the free time list into one area, because the setup is basically the same. It's just whether we're seeing totals or detail of the students. So it's going to give us the ability to say what terms we want to look at. If I want just my semesters, I can come in here and either remove all or just move the items that I want. Move them one at a time, bring them back and forth, and this is where I'm specifying whether I want to see the free time tally versus the free time list. You can specify the periods that you want to work with. If you have additional periods at the end of the day that you're using for some extracurricular activities, you can go ahead and skip those. Skip where you want and go ahead and print. This is going to give us the ability to see what time frame and how many students are available on whatever days that you have set up in your database. If I was looking at the free time list instead of the free time, I would be able to see the specific students on either side. So leaving everything else the same, when I go to print, I'm going to be able to see on which days and or which semesters the student has free time. So I might see some students that are on one day and not another. And it's going to show me all of the ones for a particular semester first. So I might see all of my years first, then my semester ones and semester twos, and then it will go down through the periods. So I can see the information of who's there for what. So I have my year, my period. As I go forward, I will see which students are there for what. So this includes their year of grad and their homeroom. And the last of the reports that are new this year is under scheduling, is the teacher schedules and teacher master schedule. When we come into the teacher master schedule, you can print only teachers with conflicts, teachers with no courses. You can also say, oh, show me the course detail information. So I see not only the grid, but also the detail at the bottom. For the teacher schedules and teacher master schedule, when you come in, you can select your teacher range, and you can do all the teachers, some of the teachers, individual teachers. So I'm going to uncheck everyone and just pick one particular teacher. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to leave it as the teacher schedule. I can specify how many periods I want to run. If I don't want to run all of the periods, I can specify. Start and stop period. You can do only teachers with conflicts. You can do your teachers with no courses. What's nice is you can include your detailed course information because the normal teacher schedule here is in a grid. You will need to select which week that you want to print for, and then you can go ahead and print. You will be able to save your settings for that. So in this school, there is a 2-day schedule, and I can see which teacher is for this teacher, where they are for each day. There are conflicts. I'm going to see asterisks to indicate that there are conflicts. The study hall conflict might be, but I have a year-long study hall, also a semester study hall in the same room. If I go to the next page, I can see the detail information. So this is what we would have had if we had a line schedule. So you can see the individual time frames. Here's the conflict in the study hall, what days they meet, and so on. So it gives me a nice information for what's going on. If I go back to my setup, I can look at a teacher's master schedule, and I can go ahead and change my teacher range. Go back, select everyone. And I might have selected only the teachers in a particular department. So now when I print, depending on how many periods I have, I'm going to have the teachers coming down the left-hand side of the page, and I'm going to have the periods going across the top of the page. For the particular semester that I'm in, it's going to show me the information, and I can see what's going on. Now, for somebody like Anderson, there are an extra blank line after his name because I have the situation where depending on what day it is, there's a different course. So it lets me see that and show that, okay, one day I'm doing, they're doing boys phys ed, the next day they're doing weight training. So it lets me see what's going on. It's showing me 7 periods out of my 12. If I go to the 14th page, because I'm going to see all of the first 7 periods first, I can then see the next periods. Now on this one, there is no, for periods 8 to 12, there are no second extra line that's needed, but it still gives that spacing so that I can line it up from the other one and put them side by side. So it just makes it a little neater for what I want to work with. Under grades, the new reports are the failure missing grades report and your honor roll lists. So in here, for the failure missing, you can select which students have failed, if they're missing a grade, the standard where you can say what order you'd like to see them, if you want a new page for each teacher or not, what marking period you want to see it for. So if I was looking for a missing quarter 4 grade, I could do that. As I scroll down, I can show all my marking periods in addition to the field that I want to see. And I can say what plans I want to consider. Now, because I'm doing quarter 4 grade, I have no need to see quarters 1, 2, and 3 or the semester 1 because they don't have a quarter 4 grade. I can say I want to see my regular courses, go ahead and build the list, and it will find the courses that have those grade plans in them, and then I can go ahead and print. You can do the same if I was looking for a specific grade. So if I was looking for my incompletes, I could do the same sort of thing, but I would still need to do it in here, one grade field at a time because I'm only allowed to do one. The red asterisks here are letting me know that these are required fields in order for me to run the report. Also in the grades, under reports, you now have your honor roll lists. This is going to give you the ability to show the particular one or more levels, what marking period you'd like to see them for, and then you can go ahead and print. So very easy, very similar to what you're doing in Generations. An area that's new to the grades is we now have an editing job of your transfer courses and grades. This is going to give you the ability here in the web portal for, say, a transfer student who has come in, or maybe for summer school, or for a 9th grader if they took, say, algebra in 8th grade. gives you the ability where you can come in, say that you want to look at, say, maybe just the final average and maybe the credits that go with that. You can select what student you'd like to work with and what year that you want to work with. As I scroll down, you'll be able to add information in here. So if I go ahead and select Mary Elizabeth, I can view their profile. So it lets me see some information for that student. For the transfer courses for the years that are specified, I have the ability to come in and select those transfer courses and say what course I want to be able to work with. And so maybe I need to go with geometry. Once I have selected that, it gives me the ability to add in the grade. So here's the course and section. I can put in the previous school, city, and state that can show on my transcript. It defaulted to the number of credits that are associated with that course. It lets me set up what GPA level I'd like it to be at, the department that it wants. So if it was geometry, I might need to say that it's in the math department, the length of the course, what grade plan I wanted to use, and it's then also going to show me some information about the final average, grades, credits, and credit flag. So it gives that option that I can come in and say, oh, okay, I want to be able to come in. If I'm doing letter grades, I can come in and say the student has a B, which is going to give them half a credit because I can see how many credits this course is worth. And I can put my credit flag in. The credit flag has to do with whether you're using the computed credits, the manual credits that you just entered, because it might be, well, in your system it's worth a credit, but half a credit, but for this student coming in, it was worth a full credit. So I might want to use the manual credits for my credits attempted for GPA. And if I need to, it's letting me know as I select things that it was saved. And I can go ahead and delete this if I find I don't need it for this student or I need to go to a different year. The last of the new items are going to be under Manage. There's a whole new area here for mail merge. So mail merge is being added to the staff portal. The build data source files is where you can come in and set up how you want those to work. This is going to be similar to what we do with the skills report cards, but it gives you more flexibility. So this first part of when you're building the source files, you can pick which template you want to use, whether it's the biographical mail merge or specific attendance ones. There are some that are set up for really short ones so that they're set up for just today. You can also enter the title. The title is going to be the name of your source file, sort of as if I was setting up a merge, where is the source? That's the name or the title that I'm entering here. You can bring in additional fields. It loaded up the defaults, and you can bring more fields in if you want. So if I was doing a letter for the parent portal, that I might want to include the contact's email address. So I would be able to scroll down and find the contact's email and bring that over. So I can say, yes, I want to bring that field over and add it to what's here. So you can save your source file. Once you have that, you even have a quick link here. So instead of having to go back up to Manage and over to Manage the letter templates or to print, I can go right here and click with the quick link instead. So the first part is this source of what I'm going to use as sort of my output. The next is to manage the letter templates. And in the letter templates, I can come again, say that it's going to be a biographical mail merge. I can even go and browse my letter file. So I can come in, depending on where I have put them, so I can work with it. I can come in and say, oh, here's my doc. Or it's a label file, depending on which one I'm doing. So the first is I can do that, and I can say, oh, that's my new letter that I'm going to create. So I now need to upload that so I can work with it. If somebody else had created that mail merge letter, I would be able to come over here, go into the merge or the label, if I was doing a label file instead of the other. And I could come in and say, oh, pick that file. Let's go back and do the other kind then. say, oh, there's the one I want, and now I'll be able to download the file so I have the ability to work with it. So I can work with the file, download it, work with it, and then upload it back up. So very easy for them to see. Once it knows the file that I'm going to be working with and the most recent copy, I can go to the print and send letters. What's really nice in here is you're going to be able to come in and say, okay, here's my merge letter. I can set up the letter that I want to work with. Date range only applies if I'm doing an attendance letter. I can set criteria if I want as to who I want to see these letters. And that gives me the ability to pick what field I want to work with. So if I was doing it, say, just for freshmen, I could come in and say, give me the grade level. And then I can specify which grade level I want to work with, one or more. And I can click OK, and that will work with my student range to limit who I'm going to work with. As I scroll down, I can also come in and say, oh, I have a label format that I want to work with. So it gives me that where I can do both of the letters and the labels at the same time. I can come in and say which contact type I want to work with, whether it's specific contact or the mailing flag for those contacts that have said yes for mail. You can limit one per family based on your family ID, whoever's the primary sibling. You have the option to set it up for email so that you can say, I want to send the report to email. You can report only for students or contacts eligible for email. Do them all, email where I can, paper otherwise. Opt that you want to see the paper copy of your email recipients. Give the from email address, the subject, a message that goes on there. And you can also enable your log of whether it went out or not. You can track your numbers letters like you did before. It is a 2-digit tracking number. Same areas that you've had in the past. So all of this is what you've had in Generations. But what would be really nice is when you work with your letters, it's a full word merge. So if you want to bold certain areas or bring in letterhead, things like that, you're going to be able to do it. So it's really handy to work with that. And those are the new things that are in the staff portal for 4.3. Thank you.